Okay, so for a closer look at some of the criticism Bolsonaro faces, many of whom say that he's part of the problem and will further entrench discrimination and social inequality in the country, we're joined by David Gormezano. David, first of all, that exchange between Trump and Bolsonaro on the day of his inauguration. Beyond this show of mutual support, has there been any specific evidence of collaboration or communication between the two leaders? Do they share a vision?
In Georgia, yes, they share a lot of things in common for months now, because Jair Bolsonaro has been elected back in October, and since October he's been telling the world how much he wants to be Donald Trump's best ally on the world scene. For instance, on the issue of the embassies in Israel, he has said he has given some hints that he's favorable to the Brazilian embassy moving to Jerusalem. On a number of issues like climate change, the two men are skeptical about climate change. They have doubts about the Paris Agreement, and the two of them have a common conception of politics. Also, I think the two men are very keen to use social media and Twitter to communicate. And Jair Bolsonaro didn't participate in any debates with his left-wing contenders. So yes, I think the Jair Bolsonaro, the new Brazilian president, is very much in the mood of Donald Trump.
So Bolsonaro wants to be closer to the US, but does the US likely care very much about Bolsonaro's policies or Brazil?
Well, I guess the US is very happy to have a new strong ally in Latin America, which is a region of the world that only a few years ago was an opponent of the United States. So the balance of power in Latin America has changed a lot, and Brazil is a giant in Latin America. So no, I think Bolsonaro is a very interesting ally for Donald Trump.
So what happens now in terms of Bolsonaro actually following through on all these promises to crack down on corruption and graft that he made during his campaign?
Well, first of all, Brazil is in the southern hemisphere. So what is happening now are summer vacations for most Brazilians. And there is a summer recess in Parliament. So Parliament will resume in February after Carnival, which is a very important moment in Brazil. And then Bolsonaro will start really getting into the tougher part of the job, which is making his projects into law, because Jair Bolsonaro doesn't have a majority in Parliament. He has 50 MPs that belong to his political party, but there are more than 500 MPs in Brazil. So he will have to build coalitions. He will have to deal with parliamentarians that very often are linked to specific interests, to lobbies. And then he will see if he can pass through his agenda and what he has promised to the Brazilians.
Thanks very much, David. So to have a closer look at some of